We are nearing the conclusion of season number 2 here in the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB The Show 24. We are currently in the midst of a chase to get into the postseason. We currently sit at 500. We've got 6 series left, and we are in for a gauntlet. All 6 remaining series are against teams who are fighting for playoff spots or are in the postseason, and everybody here is over 500 other than San Diego. We really needed to take advantage of this 4-game set at home against the Rockies, but we ended up losing 3 of those 4, scoring a combined total of 5 runs. What do we do the first game after that? We scored 13, including 9 in 1 inning. This was one of our worst pitched games of the year. We allowed 16 hits off of 10 runs, but an incredible 7th inning rally propelled us to an awesome win. But the problem with this team, though, is they don't really know how to build off of big wins. And after that game, we lost 4 of 5. We made a pretty big roster move in the last episode, calling up Kyler Rodriguez for the home stretch of the year, our first-round pick last year. At just 18 years old, Rodriguez had a great season in Double-A. We skipped him through Triple-A, and so far in the big leagues, he's been really good. He has a base hit in every game he's played in so far. We haven't seen the power from him yet, which is the big reason why we drafted him last year. But he's hitting for really good contact, which is encouraging because he only hit around 230 this year in the minors. Currently, we are 500. The last time we were 500 was the first game of the year. We've been above 500 all year, but we've really come back down to earth over the last couple of months, and we finally made it back to even. We're currently 4 games out of the wild card spot in the NL, and we're going to have to jump at least 2 teams over these next 3 weeks in order to get one of those wild card spots. We're going to need the offense to be more consistent. We scored 13 runs in the one game against the Padres. I'm not even sure if we scored 13 runs in the remainder of the episode. As for the pitching, we're getting a lot healthier, of course. Robbie Ray and Kyle Harrison are back. Blake Snell is now dealing with a minor injury, but he should be fine as he currently pushes for the NL Cy Young, finding himself in 3rd place. And the biggest news of all injury-wise is that Logan Webb, who tore his pec back in July, should be coming back within the next couple of days, which is a huge deal. Even though Blake Snell's been our best pitcher this year, Logan Webb is still our ace, and we need him back in our rotation pronto. As I said earlier, we've got a lot of work to do, being that we really haven't played all that well over the last couple of months. We've got 2 teams to jump in the wild card race. And again, 5 of the 6 remaining series are against playoff teams, and the other one, San Diego, could very well determine a playoff spot if us and the Padres heat up. We're going to shimmer down our critical situation requirements just to get us in more games, because with this being a playoff chase at the end of the year, I want to see as much in-game action as possible. We're going to simulate through this series against the Mariners, and sure enough, in the first game, we're down by 2 in the bottom of the 8th. And for Christ's sakes, the bases are loaded. This can't be good news for us, as it is Blake Sabol who's up. It's a lefty-on-lefty matchup as he faces off against Gabe Spire. But of course, Sabol does really well with runners on base, so we're going to keep him in the game as he rips this one to short, but it is caught by Jorge Polanco. If he wasn't at the right place at the right time and made a nice play on the ball, this game could be tied up. So that brings up Jorge Soler, who of course mashes against left-handed pitching. All the Giants need is a base hit here to tie the game, and of course we know with Soler, he can take any ball out of the ballpark. So the count is 1-1, down by 2 with the bases juiced, and Soler, that was the pitch! A circle change pretty much down the middle at 88, but he fouls it off. He was a little bit early, but man, that was his pitch. Now he's behind 1-2. Following pitch from Gabe Spire. And again, that was a good pitch to hit. A slider up and in. And he went after it a little bit early. So Soler mistimes another off-speed pitch. The following now, he hits it well into center. But Julio Rodriguez has more than enough range to track that one down. And in the least surprising turn of events we will likely see today, the Giants leave the bases loaded. And unfortunately, that ended up being the difference in this game, as we lose to the Mariners by a final score of 6-4. And for the first time all season, the San Francisco Giants sit under 500 at 72-73. We were given an opportunity there in the 8th inning with all of those base runners, but unfortunately Blake Sabol and Jorge Soler could not come up big. Both of those guys hit the ball well in their respective at-bats, but not well enough, I guess. Something interesting I noticed is that Kyler Rodriguez was pinch ran for in the 8th inning, Rodriguez is really fast. He shouldn't need a pinch runner, so that tells me he got injured. Speaking of injuries, Kyle Harrison's been really up and down since he came back from the 60-day IL. This was certainly a down performance from him, despite a good showing from the bullpen. Shout out Jordan Hicks for pitching a good game. So Logan Webb is off of the IL. Kyler Rodriguez suffers a minor injury, not a big deal, so he will not be put on the IL, which means we now have an extra roster spot, and we are also going to have to take somebody out of the rotation now that Logan Webb is back. Ultimately, that's going to be Michael Lorenzen. He's been worse than our other starting pitchers this year, and he has experience in the bullpen, primarily a reliever for most of his career, back when he used to rake as well. Fun fact, Lorenzen has more 1,000 OPS seasons at the plate in his career than Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, and Manny Machado combined. Anyway, Lorenzen's going to go to the bullpen, and we're going to send down Jordan Hicks. I feel bad because he's pitched pretty well here in this second stint in the majors. His ERA has gone down in half, but I have nobody else to send down. We ended up winning the next game 12-1. Again, there's no consistency with this group whatsoever. We hit the ball so well here. Only two guys did not get base hits. One of them was J.P. Crawford. The other, Marco Luciano, still scored 3 times. Estrada and Mullins went deep. Mason Miller had a great start, 7 innings of 1-run ball. I'm curious to see how we respond with this win as we're going to play against the Reds next at 73-73. The Reds are quite good, 91-55. I applaud how they've built their ball club over the last couple of years because obviously they've added a lot of young talent. And since the start of this series, they've been ultra aggressive in making big moves, and it's paid off. This past offseason, they hired Dave Roberts as their manager. They signed Juan Soto in free agency. At the trade deadline, they acquired Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, sniping him from us. And that's not to mention the big deal they made with us last season, trading for Matt Chapman, a deal that I think has really worked out well for both sides. Chapman will get the day off today, so we're not going to get to look at him, but he's had a strong season with Cincinnati, while, of course, Jonathan India has made a high impact for us. Jake Fraley, not so much, and Edwin Arroyo is still in the minors, but I feel like that was a good deal for all parties. Here is Logan Webb getting the start for the Giants, his first since July. He's missed his last 7 starts with a torn pec, but it's good to have him back. Hopefully, he can get some good starts for us down the stretch and help lead a shocking push into the playoffs. Ellie De La Cruz, the face of this team, along with Juan Soto, leads it off, grounds it to first, and the Giants know they have to move swiftly with De La Cruz's speed, and they will record the out. Will Benson, the first-time All-Star up for Cincinnati, he goes down on the slider. Benson was a guy we tried to get in that Matt Chapman deal last year, but unfortunately, we were only able to get Jake Fraley, who has the lowest WAR on the roster. Juan Soto's now up for the Reds, and he goes down on the circle change. Juan Soto's not a guy who strikes out a lot. He also doesn't swing at bad pitches a lot, but he did both of those there. Great start for Logan Webb, who retires the side against a pretty good group of hitters, specifically Juan Soto, who I think is the best hitter in baseball. Let's go to the bottom of the first as we take a look at the young flame-throwing righty, Hunter Green, who is the 2nd overall pick in the 2017 Major League Draft. He's developed into a solid player here in Cincinnati. Maybe not the top-end starter they hoped for, but that's been Nick Lodolo, who's currently hurt. But, of course, he did start in the All-Star game for the National League this year. Jun-Hoo Lee hits this one into center, and that one's going to drop! TJ Friedel can't make the play. Lee heads back to first around halfway across the base path. He felt like he would have been out at second. Would have been a close call, so I can't entirely blame him for just trying to make the safe play and get back on base. J.P. Crawford up with 1 away and a full count, and he chases the circle change. Crawford has some of the best plate discipline in the league. A rare miss from him, especially considering he would have walked had he let that pitch go. Blake Sabol gets a really good pitch to hit, but he pops it up to the pitcher's mound. I'm not sure why they had Christian Encarnacion Strand run all the way to get that when Hunter Green was right there, but oh well, they made the play. Neither side scores through 1 as we go into the second. Matt McLain rips this one into right for a hit. As upset as I was with Jun-Hoo Lee not making the All-Star game, Matt McLain might have been an even bigger snub. He led the NL in WAR at the time of the All-Star game and didn't make it. Lee, of course, was also in the top 3. Jamer Candelario rips this one into right. It goes off the top of the wall. McLain rounds third, looks to score. He is safe. Candelario makes it to third. He's safe as well with a triple. The Giants probably should not have thrown that ball home. McLain was never realistically in play to be tagged out, so Candelario gets an extra base. Christian Encarnacion Strand draws a walk, and so now there's 2 runners aboard, 2 away, and a full count for the catcher, Carson Kelly. The 3-2, and he hits this one well into left, but it will be caught by Kyler Rodriguez. We haven't seen a lot of K-Rod in the outfield. He's mostly played either DH or first base, but he is a natural outfielder, and he's got really good speed. I like his range back there. He only ended up missing 1 game, by the way, with that minor injury, so it's nice having him back quickly, despite the fact that he is made of glass. Bottom 2, Jorge Soler draws a walk, and the Giants get a base runner here to start the inning. Soler hitting in the 5-hole today as San Francisco mixes up the order a little bit. Kepler goes down on the circle change. Nice pitch out of the zone by Green, his second strikeout of the game. Kyler Rodriguez, the rookie, is now up with a 2-2 count and 1 away. And the hits are going to keep on coming. 99 off the bat for Kyler, and he still has gotten a base hit in every game he has played in. I think he's played in 9 big league games, and he has a hit in all of them. The last thing I expected was for Kyler Rodriguez to be a singles merchant, but here we are, and I can't say I'm complaining. Estrada grounds it down the line. It's fair. Nice play by Encarnacion Strand to block it. That could have potentially saved a run. Both runners do advance, though. 2 guys in scoring position and 2 away for Cedric Mullins, who, of course, has played really well for this team since the trade deadline, doubling his home run total. But he pops it into the outfield, and it's caught by Juan Soto. Through 2, the Reds find themselves ahead 1-0 as we move into the 3rd. Top of the order going to be due up for both teams. For Cincinnati, it's Elly De La Cruz who rips it into left. Rodriguez at the track, at the wall. He cannot make the play. It goes off the wall. Elly rounds to 3rd. He is safe with a leadoff triple. Having the fastest man in the league on third base with nobody out is probably the easiest way to get runs. The only higher probability of scoring somebody is to drive them in off of the homer. So Will Benson's going to do exactly that. Sends it into left center. That one is gone. He is 26th of the year, and the Reds lead it 3-0. Not a great start here for Logan Webb. He looked good early in that first inning, retiring the side, but things have gone downhill quickly. That'll bring up Juan Soto now, the 1-2, and he hits this one well into right. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is just barely foul. That one even made its way into the cove, but ultimately does not stay to the left side of the pole. Soto ultimately draws a walk. He swung at that foul ball behind 1-2 as well, taking 3 balls in a row, as Matt McClain will strike out on the slider. Nice movement on that pitch by Logan Webb. Oddly enough, we've seen a number of strikeouts from Webb, and obviously that's not really the name of this game. We'll see if he can do it again against Jeimer Candelario, the 3-2. Got him looking on the sinker. Nice pitch by Logan Webb, but the Reds do add to their lead with a 2-run shot by Will Benson as we move into the bottom of the 3rd. San Francisco looking to get something going offensively. Jung-Hoo Lee goes down on the circle change. Again, that pitch was kind of on the edge of being a strike. He had to protect there, but a great pitch by Hunter Green, who has looked awesome so far. Now against his former teammate, Jonathan India, another former high draft pick of the Reds, and he goes down on the circle change. 4 punch-outs today for Green, and we make our way into the 4th. Christian Encarnacion Strand, who's had a breakout season for the Reds, goes down on the low and inside circle change. Another punch-out for Logan Webb. T.J. Friedel, the center fielder, who, of course, got MVP votes a couple years ago in 2023. Thinks he drew a walk. Umpire behind the plate says otherwise. Got him looking on the fastball. Carson Kelly now up for Cincinnati. We'll see if Logan Webb can strike out the side. Kelly behind 1-2, and he goes down on the slider. That'll likely be it for Logan Webb. The Giants don't want to overuse him in his first game back, especially considering he hasn't looked all that good. And it's been a very uncharacteristic start for Logan Webb. He's allowed a number of hits, a number of walks, a number of runs. He only threw 4 innings, but he struck out, I think, 7. That might be the least Logan Webb-esque stat line, for better or worse, ever. Let's go bottom 4 now. Hunter Green, of course, still pitching a shutout as Jorge Soler draws his second walk of the game. At least he's been good at the plate. Can't really say the same for most of the other guys on the team so far. Kepler finds himself down 1-2 with 1 away. and he will swing and miss at the circle change. Pretty much all of Hunter Green's strikeouts have been on circle changes outside of the zone. That pitch for him today has been electric. And now Rodriguez whiffs at the fastball, coming in over 100. Another punch out for Green. He looks on fire through 4 as we move into the 5th. Keaton Winn comes into the game here for San Francisco to replace Webb. He's pitched in 36 big league innings so far, and he's done pretty good. 2.97 ERA. It's been a really good season for Winn in the minors and majors when healthy, as he starts with Elly De La Cruz, who scored in his last at bat, but he goes down on the changeup. As much as we love Elly De La Cruz, he does swing and miss a lot. That'll bring up Will Benson, who homered earlier, and he will get his second hit of the game as Rodriguez cannot make the play. That one's going to make its way to the wall, and Benson is in for a double. Will Benson has been legitimately unbelievable this year. He has an OPS above 1,000. I'm not sure if he's technically a qualified hitter, but he's been one of the best hitters in baseball. As Soto hits that one to first, Kepler blocks it, flips it over to Winn. That play by Max Kepler might have saved a run, because if that ball gets by him, I think Benson is scoring pretty easily. Spencer Steer, the 1-2, hits it into no man's land. This one could drop, but J.P. Crawford is under it to make the play, and so it will remain 3-0. For the most part, the Reds' offense has quieted quite a bit since the homer by Benson back into the 3rd, as the Reds are going to make a pitching change. Connor Overton comes into the game. Pulling Hunter Green through 4 shutout innings feels weird, but I actually kind of get it. The Reds are going to be a playoff team. I think they've already clinched. They're going to be on pace for around 100 wins, and they're a real World Series contender. They want to save Hunter Green's arm for the playoffs. As Cedric Mullins singles into center field, that's the first base hit for the Giants since the 2nd inning. It has been a while. Jonathan India now, full count 2 away, goes down on the slurve. Nice pitch by the veteran Overton. And San Francisco's offense continues their struggles. Leave it to this team to score 12 runs one game and then do nothing offensively the next. Into the 6th, Candelario goes down looking on the slider. The one complaint I have with Cincinnati is they have struck out a lot today. That could be their kryptonite come playoff time, as Encarnacion Strand grounds it over to short. Thairo Estrada makes the play. 2 scoreless innings for Keaton Winn. He does his job out of the bullpen, but unfortunately, he's not getting any run support from the offense. Could this be the inning that changes things with the middle of the order due up? It starts with J.P. Crawford. Full count, draws a walk. So Crawford starts the inning as an early base runner. All you got to do is get 1 or 2 guys on, and that can really change things. 2 away now for Max Kepler. He's behind 1-2, and he skies this one into right. It has not much carry, and it will be caught by Juan Soto. Another scoreless inning for San Francisco, who only has 3 hits through 6 innings. That's not good. And we will move into the 7th. The lefty, A.J. Minter, is out of the bullpen for San Francisco. He's had a solid season, not as good as some of his years in Atlanta, but overall he's been fairly solid as he walks his fellow lefty, T.J. Friedl. Now against Elly De La Cruz. Friedl goes for second. He is safe. This Reds team is really fast and explosive. They've got some of the fastest base runners in baseball, obviously headlined by Elly De La Cruz, who, again, I think is the fastest man in baseball. He hits this one up the middle. Estrada cannot make the play. Friedl will look to score. The throw from Jung-Hoo Lee is not in time. And Cincinnati now leads at 4-0 as Elly gets his second hit of the game. Will Benson also multiple hits in this one. Strikes out on the circle change. The big weakness with Benson's game is that he doesn't really hit lefties. Hence why, the Giants put a lefty in. Because a lot of these guys don't hit lefties well. You know who does? Juan Soto. He can hit anyone well, though. And he will sit this one into the opposite field for a base hit. Elly will make his way rounding third, headed home, and he is out by a mile. As fast as Elly De La Cruz is, he can have tunnel vision sometimes as a base runner. He has very clear strengths to his game, and he has very clear weaknesses, showing it in full display there as we go bottom 7. Emilio Pagan comes out of the bullpen for the Reds, 3.71 ERA for the veteran righty. Against Cedric Mullins, he sends this one up the middle for a single. Just the 4th hit of the game for San Francisco. Their last hit, of course, was by Cedric Mullins back in the 5th inning. We've gone the entire length of the order without getting a hit, which is not good. Jung-Hoo Lee pops it up into left. This one is caught by Spencer Steer. Another strong inning for Cincinnati as they look to wrap up the shutout, possibly add some insurance and we will move into the 8th. If nothing else, at least we got this cool shot of the stadium. That's really the only positive thing that San Francisco can say about this game at the moment. Scott Barlow out of the bullpen here for the 8th. Barlow hasn't been as good since the trade deadline. That deal hasn't exactly helped his season like it has with, say, Cedric Mullins. Spencer Steer starts things off, and this one is going to get by the diving glove of Estrada for a leadoff single. We know this Giants offense can get hot. Even though they've been horrible today, this is the same team who scored 9 runs in an inning. So Cincinnati knows they could use some more insurance as they strike out Matt McClain on the fastball. Jamer Candelario is punched out for a 3rd time today. I think all 3 has gone down looking as well. Wow, what a nice pitch there by Barlow. The slurve gets Christian Encarnacion Strand. A solid inning for Barlow. He strikes out 3. And so it is still 4-0. Will this be where San Francisco's offense finally chooses to wake up? Nick Martinez out of the bullpen here for the Reds. He'll face off against the catcher Blake Sable. 2-2, 2 away. Chases the circle change. Another strong inning for the Reds. 1-2-3, and we will move into the 9th. The righty, Tyler Rogers, comes out of the bullpen here for the Giants, looking to keep the lead at 4 and not let the Reds add to it. We'll start things off here with TJ Friedl, who leads things off. And Friedl hits this one high and deep and a right. Mullins at the track, at the wall. It's off the wall. That'll be a leadoff double for Friedl, and he gets himself in scoring position with nobody out. And a nice opportunity here for the Reds to add to their lead. With 1 gone, Elly De La Cruz looking for his 3rd hit of the game. He might get it. Kepler bobbles it. Throw to first is not in time because, again, you got to move quick with Elly on the bases. It's an infield single. And now there's runners on the corners for Will Benson, who crushes it into right field. That one is gone. A splash shot into the cove. And the Reds might have just ended this game at 7-0. Benson with his 27th of the year, 2nd of the game, adding salt to the wound by getting a splash shot. But if that wasn't enough insurance, Juan Soto will put the bow on this game instead. That's back-to-back home runs for Cincinnati. Soto with his 26th of the year, and the Reds now lead at 8-0. Taylor Rogers will replace twin brother Tyler out of the bullpen, looking to keep the lead here at 8 as he starts by hitting Spencer Steer. That was obviously not intentional, otherwise he would have thrown it harder than 79. As Candelario strikes out again, but a big inning for the Reds. They get 4 with back-to-back home runs by Will Benson and Juan Soto. Bottom 9, Jorge Soler starts things off with a strikeout on the circle change. Martinez looking to finish things off here against the rookie Kyler Rodriguez, who fishes the circle change low and well out of the strike zone as the Reds win at 8-0, taking the first of 3 in dominant fashion. Just not a good showing at all from San Francisco. The pitching was bad. The offense was bad. There really wasn't any positives other than the fact that this game was over. And again, the point I made at the beginning of the episode, with this team being unable to capitalize on big wins, well, that's exactly what we did here because we're coming off a 12-1 win against a good team in Seattle. Will Benson led the way for the Reds, 3 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Juan Soto was really good. Elly De La Cruz was really good. As for us, we only had 4 hits. None of them went for extra bases. Logan Webb wasn't good. The bullpen was not great. So with that, we fall to 73 and 74, and we're hoping that we will continue to not spiral out of control as we go into the second game. The offense is once again laying an egg. We've scored 1 run through 7 innings. But Blake Snell has come to save the day. He's pitching a shutout currently. Stevenson looks to change that to start the 8th, but it's just foul by around 9.5 feet. So the Giants dodge a bullet, and Tyler Stevenson ultimately strikes out. Blake Snell is pushing for his 3rd Cy Young, looking to put himself in rare air as Steer hits this one into right. It is caught by Cedric Mullins for out number 2. We'll see if Snell can make it through the 8th. Now facing off against the speedster Bubba Thompson, who was behind early 0-2. Snell's likely going to look to get him with the nasty curve as Thompson gets a piece of it into right. Mullins in foul territory will make the play. 1-2-3 inning for Blake Snell. He's got a shutout through 8. And now we're going to hop into the 9th, see if we can finish off the job. We did not score in the bottom half of the inning. Shocking, I know. And now we're going to hope that Snell can get us through the ninth with the 2, 3, 4 hitters due up. That starts with Ellie De La Cruz, who goes down looking on the curveball. That was his pitch. I don't know what he was waiting for. Juan Soto lines this one into no man's land, but Jonathan India makes a nice play, and the Reds are down to their final out. It's Matt McLain, who hits lefties really well. We thought about making a pitching change, but are ultimately going to rock with Snell, and that might have been a mistake as the Reds get their just third hit of the game with a single by McLain. Tying run is on base. Winning run is at the plate as Candelario looks at that one for ball 2. McLain heads for second with a wild pitch, and he is safe. So just like that, the Reds now at the tying run in scoring position as Candelario checks his swing. Looks like he might have gotten hit on the foot. So the winning run is on base, and with that, unfortunately, we're going to have to take Blake Snell out of the game. I wanted him to finish it off. It would have been just his second complete game of his career, but he allows back-to-back base runners, and I think it's time for the closer, Camilo Doval, to come in and shut the door with the tying run at second and the potential winning run at first. Doval, of course, has had a pretty strong season. Despite our team really not playing all that well over the last couple of months, his play has elevated since, as he gets Encarnacion Strand on the slider, and that'll do it. The Giants take the second game against the Reds 1-0 with a dominant showing by Blake Snell. He goes 8 2/3 scoreless, unfortunately unable to finish off the job, but he was still utterly fantastic in this game. His ERA on the season is now below 3, certainly helping his push for the Cy Young. Nonetheless, I'm still not happy with the offense. Through 2 games, we have 9 hits and 1 run. Our lone run in this game came off of a home run by Jorge Soler back in the bottom of the first. Other than him and Jonathan India, who had 2 hits himself, nobody else really showed up. It's also worth noting that Kyler Rodriguez was subbed out of this game pretty early, so he didn't get a hit, which technically ends his streak, but he didn't get an at-bat, so I'm not sure it's actually going to count against him. Ultimately, he bruised his shin. He'll be out for probably a day or 2. So, once again, not a big deal, but this is his second injury in the last 3 days. The durability concerns are really showing. Let's hop into this last game here against the Reds. Another pitching duel, tied at 2 here in the 8th. Michael Lorenzen, the former Red, is on to pitch as Juan Soto starts with a fly out into center. That one's caught by Lee for the first out of the inning as the runner retreats. This feels like a really important game for San Francisco. You got to go into the Arizona series above 500 ideally as the runner steals second. He's now in scoring position for Spencer Steer, who finds himself behind 1-2. And he hits this one well into left, but it will be caught by Kepler. A nice backhanded snag for the second out of the inning. That'll bring us to probably the biggest at-bat of this game and maybe of the series so far. Matt McLain, the 1-2. Swing and a miss on the sinker. Good inning for Lorenzen. He holds Cincinnati off the scoreboard as we travel into the bottom of the 8th. We'll see if San Francisco can take the lead. J.P. Crawford's on base, 1 away for Jonathan India, who's been one of our more clutch hitters this year. The 1-2. And India launches it into right, but it's foul. It looks like he got a little bit ahead of that one and slices it. So unfortunately, that one will not go into seats. But maybe this one could. Into left center. Steer at the track, at the wall. It's gone! 2-run homer for Jonathan India. That's number 20 on the year. And the Giants lead it 4-2. The former Red comes up big against his former team to put San Francisco ahead. We haven't had much to cheer about offensively over the last really month or so, minus our 9-run inning against San Diego. But with back-to-back really good pitching performances in this series, we are looking to take 2 of 3 against one of the best teams in baseball, and now we're in position to do so. Say ball 1-0, pops this one into foul territory and left. That one's going to be caught, but still absolutely a successful inning with the 2-run homer by Jonathan India to put the Giants ahead 4-2. And ultimately, that's all the runs they would need. Camilo Doval shuts the door in the 9th, and San Francisco takes 2 of 3, again, against one of the best teams in baseball. This Reds team, I think, is going to be a mainstay in the playoffs for a while. They've really built the Big Red Machine 2.0, if you will, with all the new faces here. So to take 2 against them in the middle of their chase to win the NL Central, we've got to feel pretty good. And for the first time in a while, we've got some positive momentum. We're back above 500. And now that brings us to the most important series of the year against Arizona, who is a half game ahead of us. They're 76-74. We're 75-74. Both teams just a little bit outside of the wild card race. Now, Arizona hasn't played very well as of recent. They've lost 6 in a row. So like us, they've been struggling, but unlike us, they're not on a win streak. They've been swept in back-to-back series by Cleveland and St. Louis. The series against the Cardinals is really a concern for them because they allowed double-digit runs in all 3 games. 10, 14, and 12. So while our issues are coming offensively, I feel like, their problems right now is relating to pitching. Now, they do have Zach Gallen and Aaron Savale on the mound in the first 2 games of this series, which should make things better. Here in the first game, they lead it 4-3 in the top of the 8th, looking to potentially pull off a comeback, and well, that's not a particularly good start, as Jung-Hoo Lee goes down on the slider from fellow lefty Ryan Nelson. Now against Jorge Soler, rips the first pitch. It's hit well into right, but not well enough. It will be caught for the second out of the inning by Corbin Carroll. Now against Jonathan India, the hero in that last game against Cincinnati, and India swings at a high cutter. Probably should have let that one go, but it will be caught again by Carroll. So it's still 4-3. We'll see if we can pull off the comeback here in the 9th. Luckily, Arizona did not do any further damage in the bottom half of the inning, and it's time for Paul Sewald to pitch. The back-to-back All-Star looks to close things out as Cedric Mullins goes down on the fastball for out number 1. Now he'll face off against Kyler Rodriguez, coming back from injury with yet another hit today, continuing his streak. And he goes down looking on the fastball. The Giants are down to their final out, and it's Marco Luciano, who's 1 for 3 with a triple. This one is down the line and fair. Marco's going to keep the game alive as it rolls to the wall. Rounding first, heads to second. He is safe. And the tying run is in scoring position. A huge double from Luciano, and now a gigantic at-bat upcoming for Patrick Bailey. He's behind 0-2 as a couple hits today, but he chases the slurve, and that'll do it. Certainly not the guy the Giants wanted up at the plate there, but with Blake Sabol already having been used today, there would be no other catching options, so he had to keep Bailey in, and he swings at a really, really bad pitch. So he dropped the first game here 4-3. At least the offense was competitive, I guess. Kyle Harrison, again, was not great. Keaton Winn did pitch pretty well to keep the game alive, but unfortunately we fall. We really have to do well in this series against Arizona. Going into it, I felt like we needed at minimum 2 games, ideally 3. So, well, now we've got to win 2 in a row, I feel like, or else we are in trouble. At 75-75, time is running out. There's less than 4 regular season series left, and, well, both of these teams are on the outside looking in, the Giants in particular. If we lose just one of these next 2 games against Arizona, then we will be guaranteed to be sitting behind Arizona with 3 series left to go. We wouldn't even be the first team out, which would put us in a bad spot. Here's a look at both lineups 1-9, while it will be Aaron Savale on the mound for the Diamondbacks. They acquired him last year at the trade deadline in a huge deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, where they gave up multiple big-time prospects, including former first-rounder Tommy Troy. But Savale's had a really good season. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and they're going to have to pay him the big bucks if they want to keep him around. Jung-Hoo Lee leads things off. He crushes it into center. At the track, at the wall, and it's caught for the first out of the inning by Alek Thomas. That was a close one. Nearly had enough carry, but unfortunately not quite. That'll bring up J.P. Crawford, who finds himself behind 1-2. Ropes it to first, and Castellanos scoops the liner. Another close call, hit it well, but a good defensive play. Blake Sabol now is up for San Francisco. He's going to make sure this is a base hit, placing it right between the left fielder and the center fielder into the left center gap. That'll go for a double. So with 2 away, San Francisco gets a runner aboard. Of course, Sabol is pretty fast for a catcher, and we'll see if the big cleanup hitter, Jorge Soler, can bring him in. He finds himself even 2-2, grounds it over to third, but Eugenio Suarez will make the play. And so Savale gets through the first, only having allowed the 1 hit. But the Giants did hit the ball well in that inning. I do feel pretty encouraged, despite not scoring anybody. As we go to the bottom of the first, take a look at Mason Miller, who's been a little inconsistent since the trade deadline. I think his ERA has gone up a little bit, but his whip has gone down. I feel like he's pitched overall pretty well. He's just had a few bad outings that have kind of dragged him down, but he's had some really good performances this year. Hopefully, this will be another one as he starts with Geraldo Perdomo, who will bloop this one into left. Soler chases after it. He will not make the play. He's able to block it from going any farther, but it is a double for Perdomo, who's barely safe. That one went 70 off the bat, yet it drops for an extra base hit. That'll bring up Emmanuel Rivera starting at second base today with no Ketel Marte. He's on the IL, and he goes down on the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Corbin Carroll is now up for Arizona, and he sends this one into the gap. That'll score the run with no problem. As we talked about in the last game, Elly De La Cruz might be the fastest player in baseball. If not him, it's probably Corbin Carroll, who's in safely with an RBI triple, and the Diamondbacks are on the board first. They lead at 1-0. Nick Castellanos now the 3-2, and he goes down looking on the cutter. Nice pitch by Miller for the second out of the inning. We'll see if Alek Thomas can bring the runner home, and he does not. Goes down on the circle change. Miller strikes out 3, but the two guys who do get hits end up with extra bases as it's 1-0, and we move into the second. What a pitch by Savale. That cutter was filthy. I don't blame Jonathan India at all. That was one of the more impressive pitches I've ever seen in my life. Gabriel Moreno goes down on the slider. Another punch out for Miller, who has relied on the strikeouts early. Now with Suarez, there's the cutter, and that's 5 punch outs early here for Mason Miller. The Diamondbacks are chasing these outside pitches, so why stop? 1-2 here for Jordan Lawler, and he completely chases the slider, not even close to the strike zone. 6 strikeouts for Mason Miller through 2. As we jump into the third, still 1-0. Marco Luciano leads things off, and he strikes out on the slurve. Again, filthy movement on that pitch by Aaron Savale. We are getting a pitching masterclass early in this game with Aaron Savale and Mason Miller. These two guys look unbelievable right now. Cedric Mullins gets that one by the diving glove of Castellanos for a base hit. So the Giants got a runner on here with 1 away. We'll see if they can take advantage, as that brings us to the top of the order. Full count here for the center fielder, Jung-Hoo Lee, and he grounds this one right to short. 6-4-3, inning-ending double play. He hit that ball hard and pretty well, too. But another nice defensive play by Arizona as we go to the bottom of the third. Geraldo Perdomo doubled and scored back in the first, but he will, sure enough, strike out on the slider. That's 7 for Miller. Looking for another one here with a full count against Emmanuel Rivera. We'll see if Miller goes back to something outside. And, well, that one was actually kind of down the middle. Rivera hits it for a single. So, again, there seems to be really 2 outcomes with the Diamondbacks offense. A strikeout or a base hit. Or, in this case, neither. Corbin Carroll grounds it to second. Crawford makes the play. Just the second out of the game from Arizona's offense in which they actually hit the ball. And it's still 1-0 as we move into the fourth. Jorge Soler is up to 2-2. Goes down on the slurve. Again, that pitch was nasty. Another punch out for Savale. He's through 4 scoreless. And through the 2 full games we've played today, that is 13 scoreless innings. Not counting the Jonathan India home run because that was a critical situation. Bottom 4. Alek Thomas goes down on the fastball. That's Mason Miller's 8th strikeout of the game. We'll see if he can get another one here against Gabriel Moreno. The 1-2 for the young catcher. This one is grounded to third. Jonathan India off the bounce makes the throw. And so it will remain 1-0. Neither pitcher showing any signs of slowing down as we move into the 5th inning. It's India who just made the defensive play, leading things off here for the Giants. Finds himself behind to start 1-2. And he goes down looking on the fastball. The Giants have not been able to work the count really at all today. Savale's gotten these hitters behind, and it's paid off. Now this time Kepler's ahead 2-1, but Geraldo Perdomo makes the play at short for the second out of the inning. Perdomo's a really good defensive player, but I'm not really sure why they have Jordan Lawler DHing. I feel like he'd be one of their better defensive players himself. 3-1 for Rodriguez. They're going to call that pitch a strike. Okay, Kyler seems to think otherwise. Count is full now for Rodriguez. And he will take another close one. Grounds it to short. Perdomo makes the play. He knew he had to protect. Anything close he felt like was going to be called a strike after that last one. And we'll move into the bottom of the 5th inning. Eugenio Suarez leads things off for Arizona. Count is even 2-2. And that's going to be called a ball. Okay, the umpire not seeming to do us any favors here in this inning. That pitch was very clearly a strike, as you can see, bottom left. So we'll see if Miller's able to respond. He knows this pitch has to be in the zone, as Suarez whiffs on the 98-mile-an-hour fastball. So Miller gets the punch out anyway, his 9th of the game. Jordan Lawler now up for Arizona, and he sends this one in to right. Kepler chases after it. He will not make the play as it rolls to the wall. Jordan Lawler also with 99 speed. He's into second with a double. Not the guy you want in scoring position, and now Mason Miller's got some damage control to do. 2 gone, 1-2 for Perdomo, who flies it into left. Soler is under it. He'll make the play. And so it remains 1-0. Still, both of these pitchers have been awesome. Let's move into the 6th inning, and we'll see if either pitcher starts to break. As Luciano goes down on the slurve. That's like the 3rd slurve I've seen from Savale where I've just said, wow, afterwards. I can't even really blame the Giants' offense for struggling today. Savale's been that good. Again, another incredible pitch. His movement on his slurve has just been flat out special. Looking to strike out the side. The 1-2 for Jun-Hoo Lee, and that's called a ball. Another not so good call by the umpire, but Lee stays in the at-bat. That is also called a ball. Now the count is full. Back-to-back, really tough pitches to lay off, and sure enough, Lee will end up with a walk. Got to give him credit for laying off 3 pitches in a row, even though 2 of them were clearly strikes. The Giants need to capitalize off of this gifted opportunity as J.P. Crawford singles into right field. So now San Francisco's getting a little 2-out rally going with an undeserved walk by Jun-Hoo Lee and a base hit from J.P. Crawford. I think the guy you'd want up here is Blake Sabol! Launches it into right! That one is long gone. It goes over the pool. And San Francisco is finally on the board. It's 3-1. Sabol with his 17th home run of the year. That one goes 463 feet. My God. San Francisco should not have gotten this opportunity. Jun-Hoo Lee should have struck out looking twice. But the umpire gave us a break. And when you're a team like us needing all the wins you can get, when you get gifted a break like that, you've got to take advantage. And San Francisco absolutely does that. And this home run from Sabol is going to yank Savale out of the game. 5 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs for Savale, but don't let the stat sheet fool you. I thought he was legitimately unbelievable this year. One of the most impressive pitching performances I've seen from an opposing pitcher all year. He just got completely screwed by the umpire behind the plate and ultimately wasn't able to retaliate from there. Blake Walston, the lefty, will come in to replace him. Walston has not been very effective this year with an ERA above 8 and an average against left-handed hitters at .433. Against Soler, launches it into straightaway center. Back-to-back home runs for the Giants, and it is now 4-1. Soler with his 38th lawn bomb of the year. That one, like the home run from Sabol, an absolute nuke. It only goes 440 feet. Last year, Jorge Soler was the first Giant since Barry Bonds to hit 30 home runs in a season. This year, he looks to be the first Giant since Bonds to hit 40 home runs in 1 year. It's going to be close, but he's certainly got a chance. Jonathan India now the 3-2. Pops this one into right. It will be caught by Carroll, but quite the eventful inning for San Francisco where they really should have scored 0 and Savale should have struck out the side. We ultimately had some bad calls by the umpire, and we took advantage. 3-run homer by Sabol, solo shot by Soler, and arguably most importantly, yanking Savale out of the game. We don't have to worry about him anymore. We'll see if Mason Miller will hopefully not get the same fate as he walks Corbin Carroll. Not ideal with his speed. So Carroll finds himself aboard here with 1 away. Castellanos now the 1-2. Grounds it to first. Rodriguez looking to turn 2. He gets it to second. To first. Double play. 3-6-1. Good work by the defense, and that'll likely be it for Mason Miller's night. 6 innings of 1-run ball, striking out 9. He was fantastic as we move into the 7th. Thairo Estrada comes off the bench, draws a walk, and that will bring up Kyler Rodriguez. His hit streak is on the line. He's 0 for 2. As this one is scooped by Walston. He'll get the 1 out at second for a fielder's choice. The faster Rodriguez is safe, though, but it obviously won't be counted as a hit. So his streak is now in real jeopardy. Luciano rips it into left field. That makes its way to the corner. Kyler's going to hold up at third, but it's a one-out double for Marco Luciano, who now has 3 extra base hits in this series against Arizona. He's hitting the ball well here down the stretch this season. 2 runners in scoring position, 1 away from Mullins. He lines this one into left. This one will be caught. Runner looks to tag up. Rodriguez is going to be saved pretty easily. Luciano also moves up to third. It's a successful sacrifice fly for Cedric Mullins, and so that'll make it 5-1. From there, the Diamondbacks make a pitching change as the righty Ryan Thompson comes into the game. He's been not great this year, 4.63 ERA. Not as bad as Blake Walston, though, so he has that going for him. Jun-Hoo Lee started the rally in the last inning, the 3-2, and he will pop this one up. The funny outcome would have been him looking at that pitch and then calling it ball 4, even though it very clearly was a strike. But ultimately, he'll choose to swing. He flies out into foul territory. Giants add another run, though. They lead 5-1 as we go bottom 7. Taylor Rogers, the lefty, is in with an ERA hovering right at 2. He, of course, has been the Giants' most consistent pitcher this year as he gets Moreno to go down on the cutter. Arizona's plate discipline in this game has been legitimately awful. The amount of off-speed stuff they swung at, especially outside, has been really bad. That pitch probably should have been called a strike, but instead, it's called ball 2. Suarez will ultimately strike out anyway on the slurve. The umpire behind the plate has called a horrible game. There have been like 5 clearly bad calls over the last 3 innings, but it's obviously helped us out, so I'm not going to complain. Let's go into the top of the 8th now. The former All-Star Joe Mansupply is in for Arizona. 3.69, nice ERA on the year. Soler homered in his last at-bat, grounds it over to second. Rivera makes the play, gets through the inning. It'll remain 5-1, and we'll go into the bottom of the 8th. Another lefty, A.J. Minter, comes into the game for the Giants with his ERA hovering right around 4. Minter will start things off against Jordan Lawler, who draws a walk. Again, not the guy you want to walk because he is quite fast. Christian Robinson grounds it to third. Could this be 2? India to Crawford to Rodriguez. They got him! 5-4-3 double play. San Francisco's infield defense today has been phenomenal. Perdomo pops it into right. Soler will make the play, moving over to right field as a defensive substitution with Thairo Estrada coming into the game, moving over to left. Still 5-1 going into the 9th. The Giants, interestingly, only have 6 hits today. The offense, again, really hasn't been that good, with the exception of our 6th inning rally, which, again, should have never happened to begin with. Jonathan India leads things off. He'll face off against Steven Wilson, who comes out of the bullpen for Arizona. And this one is sent into the gap. It should go for extra bases, rolling to the wall. And Jonathan India makes it to second with a leadoff double. San Francisco looking to add some insurance here to make sure they can win this game. Kyler Rodriguez, the rookie, is now up here for the Giants. The 1-1. Looks at that pitch, goes for ball 2. As you can see, Rodriguez has a hit streak of 10 games. Luckily, the game is not going to count that one game where he played and got subbed out before his first at-bat. So he still has a hit in every game he's played in. That was his pitch, though. A fastball right down the middle. He fouls it off. And so now his hit streak comes down to a 2-2 count. The following pitch. And Rodriguez launches it into right field. That one is gone. The first big league home run for Kyler Rodriguez. And the Giants lead it 7-1. Finally, Rodriguez sends one over the fence. We've been waiting for this. The name of his game is power, but we haven't gotten it yet from him. Not only is that his first home run, but he's actually never even driven in a run until that play. As I said in the last game, he's been a singles merchant, for better or worse, but finally he's going to bring home 2 with his first of likely many big league home runs as he gets the silent treatment in the dugout. No reactions yet. Kyler's like, what the hell's going on? There we go. Now everybody's celebrating what should be a Giants win, being up by 6, headlined by the rookie, adding to his hit streak of now 11 games. But they're not done. Luciano hits it into right, but it's sliced foul. Another close call would have been an impressive exclamation mark for the young shortstop, but instead he will ground it out to second. I really thought we were going to get a storybook ending to this game, but maybe not. That will bring up the number 9 hitter, Cedric Mullins, who hits it up the middle looking for another hit, and he will not get it. It's a grounder to second. Good play by Emmanuel Rivera. The Giants do add 2, though, with the first big league home run of Kyler Rodriguez's young career. It's 7-1, and hopefully Scott Barlow can finish out the game. We had Camilo Duvall warming up in the bullpen. We would have brought him in even if the deficit was at 4. But with the home run by Rodriguez, I feel like the lead is big enough to where things seem pretty safe, and we can save Duvall for another game where we're going to need him probably a lot more. Now, Emmanuel Rivera is going to get things started quickly here for Arizona, looking to get a 6-run rally as it bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. Hey, if the Giants can score 9 runs in 1 inning, anything's possible, right? Corbin Carroll goes down on this slurve. A great pitch by Barlow. We've seen some nasty slurves today. First from Savale, now Barlow, as Castellanos sends it into right center. Soler going as fast as he can, huffing and puffing, but he can't make the play. It'll be a double for Castellanos. And the Diamondbacks cut the lead to 5, as it is now 7-2. His 23rd double of the year. Gabriel Moreno will look to drive him in, but that is not to be the case. Grounder to second, Crawford makes the play, and that'll do it. The Giants win it 7-2, taking the second of 3 here in Arizona, headlined by a great performance on the mound from Mason Miller. 6 innings of a 1-run ball, striking out 9. He started slow in that first inning, but was lights out afterwards. And again, the offense was, I don't want to say they were bad. 7 runs is a lot. That's going to win you more games than not. But the first 5 innings, our offense was legitimately horrible. Aaron Savale was awesome. But luckily, when we needed to get things going offensively, we did. We had the 6th inning rally, which, again, never should have happened, but we were able to get 4 with a pair of homers by Blake Sabol and Jorge Soler. And, of course, the rookie, Kyler Rodriguez, with home run number 1 in the 9th inning of this game, driving in his first career big league runs. Arizona's offense really was not good. They scored in the 1st, they scored in the 9th, but nothing in between. I thought Savale pitched a great game. He takes the loss, but again, it's not really his fault. He had no run support, and he got screwed by a couple of really bad calls by the home plate umpire. So with that, we're now back above 500. Hopefully it'll stay that way with this last game against Arizona. And again, we seem to struggle after getting really impressive wins. Can we finally shift the narrative? No, we lose 9-0. That felt really predictable. The offense stunk. Logan Webb wasn't horrible. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings. It was mainly the bullpen that really struggled pitching-wise. So with that, we're back at 500. 76-76 with 10 games to go. We've got to jump 2 teams. It's going to be an uphill battle. The Cardinals have mostly some tough games left. The Diamondbacks, though, get to play the Rockies twice. So that's not overly favorable for us, considering we need to be better than the Diamondbacks by pretty much 2 games. The fact that the Diamondbacks are probably going to get 5 or 6 pretty easy wins doesn't bode well for us. And well, right now we need pretty much a miracle. We've got to win at bare minimum probably 8 or 9 of these games, and we're going to need some luck on our side here in the final 3 regular season series of the year. And that'll be in the next episode. We'll see if the Giants can pull a rabbit out of their hat, get into the postseason, or if the season comes to a close. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.